Are you looking for an athletic scholarship? You're in the right place. This is the Recruit Me Athletic Scholarship Podcast, the longest-running podcast on recruiting and athletic scholarships. We're here to help your family navigate the recruiting road all the way to an athletic scholarship. He's a recruiting expert and a dad of 2 college athletes. He has a wealth of experience to share. Here's Recruit Me CEO, Brent Hanks.
Welcome to episode 385 of the Athletic Scholarship Podcast. This episode is titled, Recruit Me as the Spark. You are the fire. In the recruiting world, there are many different voices you can get inundated with. There are tools and services that can cost thousands or hundreds of dollars. But there are tools like Recruit Me and the Athletic Scholarship Podcast that are free or inexpensive. But no matter what tool you pick, the key ingredient is you. The Athletic Scholarship Podcast is part of the Recruit Me education business. My name is Brent Hanks, and I am the owner and CEO of Recruit Me. Recruit Me's goal is to provide you, whether you are a potential student athlete or the parent of a potential student athlete, with as many free and inexpensive recruiting resources as possible. You can find the Athletic Scholarship Podcast on your favorite podcast app, and a new episode hits every Tuesday. The Athletic Scholarship Podcast is the world's longest-running recruiting education podcast. Other resources that Recruit Me provides are the free Recruiting Power Pack, which is available on the recruit-me.com website. You get a download with the first steps to an athletic scholarship, an audio file about how to use videos, and a free player profile template. Just sign up on the recruit-me.com homepage. Also, you can sign up for the free Recruit Me monthly newsletter that gives you monthly recruiting tips, advice, and links to last month's The Athletic Scholarship Podcast episodes. The Recruit Me 3.0 Athletic Scholarship System gives you a 200-plus page manual and workbook to take you step-by-step through your personalized recruiting journey. You can get the Recruit Me 3.0 system for only $39. You will get the 7 steps to an athletic scholarship and much more. Step 1, select the right schools to contact. Step 2, write a great introductory email. Step 3, create your one-page player profile. Step 4, build your own recruiting questionnaire. Step 5, track your communications. Step 6, send one-page updates. And Step 7, make your school choice wisely. Go to recruit-me.com to get your recruiting plan today. As the title of this episode says, you are the fire. So who is the you in the title? Since both the student athlete and the parent or the parents are the prime listeners to the Athletic Scholarship Podcast, I thought I'd better define who the you is. The you is the student athlete. At some time, you have to light the fire and keep it burning. In this episode, I'll cover how Recruit Me, parents, coaches, social media, and other recruiting resources are sparks to start the recruiting dream. And they are also the extra sticks and logs that can help keep the recruiting fire burning. But the main focus is how many different fires you have to be the main fuel of. The fire of wanting to play your sport in college. The fire of getting the grades and the test scores to get into a college. The fire to do the research on your college list. The fire to contact college coaches and respond to college coaches. And the fire to train and be the best player on the field or the court that you can be. Let's start with the sparks. Many times, if not most, parents are cast into a bad light for pushing an athlete or wanting an athlete's success more than the athlete. I know there are times that parents are too involved, but if you, as a parent, can find a way to start the fire, kindle the fire, and feed it throughout the recruiting journey, it will be rewarding to both the parent and the student athlete. Through my college sports experience, I wanted my sons to have an opportunity, if they desired, and the talent allowed them, to experience a sport in college. Helping them with a good educational base, and with a good base in many sports and activities in their youth, is a good start. My boys didn't specialize in one sport throughout the youth, and even through junior high sports. We never discussed college sports until Parker, my oldest son's, summer between his sophomore and junior years. I didn't know about Recruit Me until after Parker signed his national letter of intent his senior year, but I feel a family can start the recruiting process as the student athlete enters their freshman year of high school. A parent can simply spark an interest by asking their student athlete if they are favoring playing a sport in college. Whether the answer is yes, no, or maybe, it is a start. As a student athlete gets into their freshman and sophomore years, most are not physically mature enough to get a college coach's attention. Remember, I said most, not all. During the student-athlete's freshman and sophomore years, a parent, a coach, or coaches, a teammate, or an upperclassman teammate, recruiting services, or social media post, or yes, Recruit Me, can and will create a spark in a student-athlete. A spark to help them realize that a college sport can be in their future. In episodes 380 and 381, an interview with Sean Gusenberg, Sean said his high school coach told him that he would eventually play in college. The coach's encouragement was a spark to train harder and to educate himself about his future. Sean ended up at the NCAA Division I Northwestern University, and now is a AA baseball player in the Chicago White Sox organization. Again, Parker, my son, got a spark by seeing that 2 underclassmen teammates committed to an NCAA Division I college, and that motivated him to find ways to get his information out to colleges, and not to wait for college coaches to find him. Additionally, a high school coach contacted his brother that was a pitching coach at a high-level NCAA Division II college, and through them, an official visit was arranged. That was a big part of getting Parker's fire going. As a parent, I prepared Parker to organize his parameters, create an introductory email, and build a list of colleges and coaches to contact. I became his administrator and encourager, and a harder role, his voice of reason. Another Parker spark was that he competed and was successful against high-level competition. He showed himself that he could play at any level of college baseball. Social media resources and recruiting education resources like Recruit Me gives you knowledge, inspiration, and a plan so that you can plug and play your information and you don't have to reinvent the wheel to get recruited. A main goal of Recruit Me and the Athletic Scholarship Podcast is to provide a spark and to give you the tools so that no student athlete that wants to play their sport in college that they didn't know how to start, when to start, and what to do to get recruited. Now let's get to the fire. The student athlete must have a fire burning in many different areas to make his or her recruitment work. There are times the fire can be just a slow burn, especially early in your high school career. But the student athlete needs to appreciate when someone helps by adding a spark or a stick of wood to the fire. To decode that last sentence, a student athlete needs to accept when a parent or a coach pushes a student athlete to train a little more or to do some research on a college on your list. The student athlete may not realize that they could play their sport in college, but as most mature and develop skills in their junior and senior years, they may realize it then. Parker had a fire to practice and train at a young age. I didn't have to push Parker to go hit or throw or shoot baskets. He worked hard in training and in the weight room, but he didn't mature until he was in his junior year. Parker's fire to play college baseball was flamed again as 2 of his high school teammates verbally committed to a college before they had even played a varsity inning. And then when he was invited to that visit at Lubbock Christian University, an NCAA Division II school. From there, Parker created a parameters list, a college list. He did research on colleges and created an email to send to colleges. I was there to ask him questions and direct a plan for him to follow. Parker's fire stayed lit all through his high school career. He took the torch and ran with it, and he used the guidance that he had to make the right fit choice for his academic and baseball career at Northwestern. Sutton, my younger son, had a different road to his college baseball career at Columbia College. Sutton played and practiced hard in his youth sports, but he didn't want to work much outside of the mandated practices. One of the decisions I made with Sutton was not to be the main coach of his baseball and basketball youth teams. Sutton's personality was that I would need to hover over him more in youth practices and games to keep him interested, but not to push him too much. With Parker, I could let him just be a player on the team, and I could work with all the other players more or equally. With Sutton, he would need more attention. Luckily, I was able to nurture and understand that he wasn't as driven to be pushed. But because of Sutton's attendance to his older brother's games and to our favorite university's games at Missouri State, he developed a knowledge of the game and the situations and became not only a skilled basketball and baseball player, but a smart one. He understood that his skills allowed him to be a good defensive player in both basketball and baseball. He took charges and guarded the best player on the other team and realized he wasn't a scorer on the offensive end of the court. He accepted that setting screens, getting rebounds, and taking charges were the stats that he would pay attention to. In baseball, stealing bases, bunting, and even getting on base on a hit by pitch were important for him and his team. He realized his roles. Sutton's fire to play was driven by the loss of his high school sophomore year to COVID, then the opportunity to play on a high-level summer team. The fire wasn't for playing in college yet, but it was to succeed in high school. His special skill came to prominence the summer between his junior and senior year, as Sutton proved that he could play at a college level. His fielding, bunting, hitting, and speed on the base paths gave him an internal spark that developed into his fire. Our experience with Parker's recruitment, Parker's college experience, and the use of the Recruit Me 3.0 system were sparks that enabled Sutton to decide to pursue a college career. If you, the student athlete, wants to play your sport in college, your fire has to burn to train in your sport. Every level of play, JUCO, NAIA, NCAA Division III, Division II, and Division I, requires the desire to train yourself. You need to seek out improvement mentally, physically, and skill-wise. An occasional push from others will be needed, but for most college athletes, there won't be a parent there to push you hourly and daily. Even college coaches won't beg you to do those extra workouts. They just expect it. If you don't do it, they will find someone else. The student athlete's desire to lift weights, have proper nutrition, and get adequate rest is on you, the student athlete. The student athlete must remember the student part. Most students that I have been around don't respond well to getting nagged at about grades. If you don't want to get pounded about grades, then kindle the fire in the classroom. I know there are subjects that high schoolers, even college students, don't like or think that they need. But the grades of those uninteresting classes count the same towards your GPA. And GPA and testing goes a long way in getting you into a college and to paying for your college. The student athlete must want to get recruited and must want to do the work. Working the Recruit Me plan by writing down your parameters, building a college list, doing research on your college list, writing an introductory email, and creating a player profile is on the student athlete. College coaches want to hear from you, the student athlete. They want to know that you have done the research on their program and you want to play for them. Set aside 15 minutes a day or every other day to do research and contact colleges. Make the effort to write down and practice questions to ask coaches. Your participation will show as you engage with your coaches. The point is that the student athlete is the main ingredient of the recruiting formula. You are the fuel that must burn hot. Be excited to pursue colleges and get pursued by colleges. I truly feel if a student athlete wants to play a sport in college, then there is a place for them to play. Go out and find it. In conclusion, the student athlete must be the fire to want to play in college. But the fire may or may not get lit early in high school. It may take off during your junior or even your senior year. The fire to train physically, mentally, and nutritionally. The fire to do well academically. And the fire to do the recruiting work. The work to recruit colleges to recruit you. The sparks and the fire stoking comes from parents, coaches, teammates, opponents, social media, and yes, Recruit Me. Now, go light your fire. At the end of the next several episodes, I'm going to give you a glimpse into the Recruit Me 3.0 Athletic System Manual. The Recruit Me 3.0 system gives you a 200-plus page step-by-step manual, workbook, and worksheets that guide you through the recruiting process. I am the owner of Recruit Me, but John Fugler started Recruit Me back in 2002, and he wrote and developed the Recruit Me 3.0 system. You can get your own Recruit Me 3.0 system for only $39 by clicking the link in the show notes or going to recruit-me.com. The Recruit Me 3.0 myth number 2 is, if I'm talented, the coach can get me into a school despite poor grades. The truth is, it is just the opposite. Poor grades shut off a coach's interest more quickly than anything else. Even before coaches evaluate your athletic ability, they can take a look at your GPA and SAT or ACT scores and make a decision about moving forward at that point. I remember when we were in the stands watching our sons compete in a showcase, we were watching over a coach's shoulder as he went through player profiles in the program and crossed off athlete after athlete. What we learned later was he was making his first evaluation based on GPA and test scores even before watching any of the athletes compete. Schools have minimum academic requirements, and coaches usually cannot get around those minimums. It's true that they can submit a list of prospective athletes who are borderline to the admissions office, but you need to be very close to qualify. All things being equal, a coach would rather pursue a student athlete with comparable abilities with higher grades and SAT scores. It's a better investment of their time. It's less risky because he or she does not want to recruit athletes that may drop out in a year or two. That reading comes straight out of the Recruit Me 3.0 System Manual and is one of the hundreds of helpful recruiting pieces of knowledge and advice you get. Go to recruit-me.com to get your digital download manual, workbook, and worksheets for only $39. Thank you for listening today, and join me next week for a 2023 The Athletic Scholarship Podcast Review and Holiday Edition. Like or subscribe on your favorite podcast app or go to recruit-me.com to get all the new and past episodes. Please share the Athletic Scholarship Podcast with other families in the recruiting journey. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from Recruit Me and the Athletic Scholarship Podcast.